Just if someone can let me know if everything is okay about sound and camera, everything. Okay, thanks administration. Okay, so we'll be starting soon. Maybe I wait a few minutes, I don't know. Merci Arthur. Well, lots of people. You guys interesting about direct techniques. Merci Delphine. Okay, so okay, Delphine, you had bad connection, but is it okay right now? Hi, Ritesh. Okay. Okay, so my name is Fabrice, but I also write Tom because on the Elijah project, I call myself Tom Sawyers. Tom, why is that? It's because years ago when I was traveling and living in places like Australia, people couldn't pronounce my name properly. Fabrice seems to be too difficult for them. So I was fed up that they always ask me, oh, what's your name again? So I say, oh, Tom. And everybody remembers. So you can call me Tom. That's fine. So I'm very used to it. About my experience, I am not a born lucid dreamer, none at all. I had some lucid dream from time to time, but nothing special. I just had some and have fun when I had one, but didn't really care about it much. But a few years ago, I went through, let's say, very dramatic events, and then I decided to really go forward. I mean, really, really. So I started to wake back to bed and do things like this. I wake up 3, 4 in the morning, but on a everyday basis. So that's not something that I would recommend to start because it's kind of really, it's a bit too much. But I was in a state of mind like, if it doesn't kill me, well, it will make me feel stronger, you know, like a bit Nietzschean approach. And that's what happened since then. I wake back to bed like every night. So it's become really an habit. And by the way, I do meditation, lots of meditation that I mix with lucid dreaming. And I will talk a little bit about meditation, not too much because that's we won't have time, I think. But let's say that I meditate like between 3 and 5 hours a day. So that's a lot. And I do some retreats. And plus the way back to bed, that's mean I kind of train like an athlete, like a sportive, you know, like really you practice high level sport and then you really practice. That's what I do. Okay, so that's it. I won't say much about it. What I'm going to talk is well, some of you might be disappointed, but I'm not really. I won't really talk about techniques. Uh, I, I'm more. I would like to talk about what the environment of the wild. You know, it's just what happened, what's going on when you're having a wild. Because uh, I've noticed that it's much more important than techniques. I mean direct techniques when you fall asleep. Indirect is very different. That's really you have to practice the techniques. That's no matter. That's really the easy part. But the direct techniques are very tricky. So I I will talk about this environment. So first, we'll talk about hypnagogia. That's a very important point. I mean, it's the most important point. And also how to train for those hypnagogia. I will explain what it is, of course. Then I will talk about what kind of wild happen when you fall asleep, because it's not like, oh, I'm falling asleep and I see images and I get inside. No, it's not that simple. There's many different kind of wild, so it's interesting to let you know what kind of wild can happen, because knowledge is very important. I mean, when you fall asleep, let's say you're kind of conscious, but you're not like 100% conscious. You're more like, I'm conscious, but I'm a bit dizzy, like I've been drinking a bit. So things happen, and most of the time we don't recognize those things, and that's why we just like click out. And okay, so after that I will talk a little bit about techniques, a little, but you'll see. And after that I will talk about something that I kind of imagine, let's say, while I was trying anything like galantamine and all those chemical things just to improve my practice. And I discovered that there was another way, and I call it surfacer, which is, let's say, the way of waking up many times, in fact, because that's what's important, because you do way back to bed and you have to wake up. So if you fall asleep again, then, and it's gone. So the best way is to have some kind of many awakening during the night after the wake back to bed. So that's how we'll talk about, and maybe a little bit about meditation if I have some after that. Okay, and I will have some. I will do some question and answer after each part, because we can really part by part. I mean, talk about it. Just see if everything is okay. Work for me fine. Close all windows. Good for me. Okay, fine. Okay, so yeah, first, one important things that you probably all people know already, but that's really important. When anything we do as a practice, we have to do it after we back to bed. I mean, it's really important. You have to sleep. You really have to rest the first part of the night. So how it works. There is sleep cycle. I mean, the first webinar, the guy Yuri, he talked about, if you see his webinar, you will see that he talked really well about sleep cycle. It's very important. And so you must have, to my point, at least 3 sleep cycle, complete sleep cycle. That's very important. And that's the minimum. That's what I do, between 3 and 4. But I mean, most of the time it's 3. And then you can play. You can just go forward. And if you mess up the second part of the night, it's no big deal. But the first part, you just sleep. And even if you do lots of work back to bed, your body gets used to it. He knows, your physiology recognizes that you need to sleep really a lot on this first part. And then after that, the work back to bed, you don't need so much sleep. So it will be okay if you mess it up. That might happen, of course. Okay, so what is hypnagogia? Hypnagogia are hallucination, any kind of hallucination that happen when you fall asleep, and a little bit when you wake up from sleeping. But it's more like, we call it hypnagogia, but I mean hypnopomp, but it's kind of the same things. It's like there is a boundary when you fall asleep. There is a boundary, a liminal state that surrender the sleep. This liminal state, it's where those hypnagogia happen. That's very important. And there is many kind of hypnagogia. They are not like one of a kind. There is a level, I mean, deeper level of hypnagogia, and that's what's important. So let me see my notes. Okay. Everybody of you probably noticed already that when you fall asleep or sometime during the night, if you have some insomnia or whatever, you might have some images and see some landscape and things like this coming into your mind, and you see things and you might hear sounds and all that. This is hypnagogia, actually, really. And sometimes people say, oh, I don't see anything. Yeah, you think you don't see anything, but there is other kind of hypnagogia where it's just like kind of people talking and all that, you know, it's just like scenario happening, but we don't pictures. Just it's just in your mind. You don't see anything, in fact. You just hear things. So the first level of hypnagogia is sound, images. If they are quite strong, sometimes you might notice many times there is faces, and sometimes there are funny faces, you know, people smiling, but in a very strange way, very strange things, a little bit like, how do you call it in English, gargoyle, you know, this on the top of the big church, you know, there is this kind of very ugly things, and sometimes hypnagogia looks a little bit like this. It's really funny. Anyway, all those images, you might see this or might not see it, but there is one important thing that happened, and that's why it's tricky. It's very tricky. It's that when it happened, there is a lag, you know, like a jet lag. I mean, there is always a lag between when you see the images or you hear the sound and the time you realize. And the more you get inside the dream, the lag seems to be, might be longer. And that's the very tricky part, because you have not noticed yet this image and you fall asleep. So it's just like, boom. And that's the problem. So you have to be very, very careful about quickly, I saw something, and just like push your consciousness to notice that something happened. So that's very important. I never see something, Stefan say. Yeah, many people never see something, but they might hear sound. Sound is very important. You can do a while awake in the lucid dream with only with the sound. I do that quite often, actually. And also, you might not hear really hear sound, but what happened is that's, I would say, the second level of hypnagogia. There would be some kind of dialogue, people talking in your mind. It's not your dialogue. It's just like, you know, you hear, but you don't see anything, and it's very, very low. So you don't really hear it properly. But this is hypnagogia, and most of the time there is a big lag with this. That's why it just, you know, you just don't notice it at all, because by the time you notice it, you're already too far. The lag is too long because you're not used to it. But if you now you know it, just try to hear, and you might hear those kind of talking, like I call it impersonal thought, because they are not your thought. You're not like, oh, I think this, I think that. They are impersonal. They're not your thought, but it happened in your mind. But because of this lag, you don't really notice it, and that's the important thing. So that's the second level of hypnagogia. That means that you really kind of falling asleep or getting deeper in that field. Yeah, after that, there's a kind of unification between those things. There is images. In fact, you get both. You get the sound and you get the picture. Then you start to see dream scenery. That's exactly what it is. I mean, it's just like you might just quickly just see in front of you in a room. There is two people, there is something happening, and you see it just poof like this, you know, and you hear, you know, you don't know what's going on, but you really see it, just poof. That means that you kind of really deep, you know, most of everybody at this point, they just fall asleep because it's something like really drug you inside the sleep. But it's very important because it most of the time it's only when you reach that point. I mean, it's not only, but let's say at this point, then you can get inside the dream. That's a really important point, but you must have your consciousness still on. That's the difficult part. It can go a little bit further, even further, and that's the better. The better is at the end. The further you go, the more funny it is, really. So at this point, you cross what I would call anything I'm talking is very personal experience. I'm not like a teacher. I saw this in books. No. I'll give you some books to read, but this is personal experience. At this point, I think there is a liminal state, a liminal border, in fact. So you really get inside the dream, but the really beginning. But you can have your consciousness. And what happened is you have a kind of what I call a floating consciousness, which means that you're still here. Yeah, you're still here, but you're kind of floating. You just like you have no body. You don't have any dream body. You just like see things, so you can go down a road. It can last quite a while, like 10, 15, 20 seconds. Which is quite long, really long hypnagogia. And but you are not inside it. And if you see a scenery, if you see like people talking or whatever, they do their job, but you're not in. They don't talk about you. You just say you're not in. You just watch them. Oh, they ignore you because they don't see you. And that's really the deepest hypnagogia in a way you can have, because after that it's it's whether you made it or not, but it's the dream, of course. So this hypnagogia happen in what I would call a field, an hypnagogic field, actually. Imagine a field like when you fall asleep, the field is about like you have to cross 100 meters. When you wake up, it's much shorter, much shorter, but it's much less tricky. You have a very short time when you wake up, but if you do the techniques as Michael Radwiga said, and you just do the job, it really will work. One time or another, it will work because it's not tricky, but it's very short. Like let's say you have 2-3 meters, and you must take it. When you fall asleep, it's much longer, but it's really tricky. It's like a swamp, like a very muddy swamp, and there is some quicksand, and you get inside it, and it's always changing. You can say, oh yeah, I know it now. I found a way to cross that field, and just no, because the next day it will be different. So it's ever changing. So what counts is to recognize what's going on inside this field, because that's why you build experience. That's why many people say, oh, to do a while you see images and all that, but it doesn't work this way, because it's always different what will happen, and you have to be prepared for any kind of situation. Now, another point, maybe I stop here and we will see if there is question about hypnagogia, because it's going to be a little bit more complicated. Okay, so I just watch if there is any question. Does ringing in my ear count? Yeah, Bogajin. Yeah, it can't, of course. I mean, anything which is not happening in real life, if it's not your neighbor or whatever, it's hypnagogia. Of course it can't. This is hypnagogia, definitely. Alors, Delphine said, okay, strange thought actually sent. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you might not see things, but you can hear, like there is something going on somewhere, but you don't know what's going on. There's some people talking in my head. Well, what's going on? That's hypnagogia. Stefan, I count from 100, and if I raise a leg in the canteen, I know there is a gap. Yeah, that's how you can realize it. But what's important is to to shorten this lag when you see the hypnagogia. That's what's important. That's what makes the difference. The closer you get to the hypnagogia, the more chance you have to really get inside it, cross the field. We will talk a little bit later. Just I hear a voice saying, I'm home, love, just before I wake up. I try to get out, nothing happened. Yeah, well, this is hypnagogia too. We call it hypnopomp because you wake up. But this is definitely also hypnagogia. It's things happening, and you don't really you hear, but in fact it's coming from dreams. It's just part of dream, little substance of the dream. How much time does it take if we try to reach hypnagogia or dream consciously when we went to bed first time at night? Well, I mean, no way back to bed. Well, good luck. No fucking way. Sorry, but I mean, it can happen. I did it. I mean, in a meditation retreat, I was so like my mind that I made it. But actually, very few people can make it because the thing is, when you fall asleep at night, we don't wake back to bed, your body want to rest, and you might have some hypnagogia. Yeah, sure, you can say, oh yeah, I see, like sometimes you can see personally what I see is like mountains and things like this, but I mean it's just like boom, my body say no way, I sleep, so it's really a bad time because they are tricky, but when you fall asleep they're even more tricky. Imagine they are like um, a boxer, Muhammad Ali, and this boxer is so fast. And when you fall asleep, he's fast. You can't imagine. You start to see him, and before you can do anything, boom, you got one. He's a little bit less faster after going back to bed, which is very important. It makes the difference. But when you fall asleep, no way. Well, try, of course. Anything I say, try. I mean, it's good to have your own experience. Try anything you want to try. It's just make your own experience. That's very important. Okay. Ways to check hypnagogia. You mean to train for hypnagogia or something? I will just talk about it. How do you let it happen? I feel I am too conscious even after like 1 hour meditation. Meditation, I will talk about it. It's a good way to have some hypnagogia. You feel you're too conscious, but at one point you fall asleep. So you cross this liminal field. You're just not conscious that you've crossed it. It's just like you have to train yourself to recognize it. And if you do meditation, I'll tell you a few things about it. I had one some day ago without image and sound, but physical sensation. Yeah, sure. This is not really the kind of hypnagogia I have. I know what you mean, but yeah, sure. Physical sensation is hypnagogia, that you might feel things. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it is. I have very often visual edge many times. They make me step with the surprise and wake me up. I already avoided you. You step too. That's the problem. Hypnagogia, when they are very light, like just hear sound, but not much. You see images like those faces. My experience showed me that there is nothing you can do with it. It's too soon. So try to catch those things. At this point, it won't work. You have to go deeper inside the hypnagogic field. I'll explain later on. How you maintain your awareness while see hypnagogia using meditation? Yeah, actually, that's what I do. But how do you maintain your awareness when you fall asleep after going back to bed? That's if you really find it from scratch, from nothing, and you cross the whole field. I've done it sometimes. It's fantastic, but really, I don't know how I managed to do it, because I don't know. It's just, if you find it, it's the growl. I just get inside it and I go all, as I explained, type 1, type 2, deeper and deeper. It might happen, but it's exceptional. Usually it doesn't work this way, because if you start from scratch, at one point you will just get inside the dream. But I'll come back about this. I just remain on bed, not moving mind chart, and not able to get hypnagogia. Conscious mind remain active. Well, yeah, that's the problem with very active people. Meditation will be a good point. Their mind is too active, and they are keeping busy with their mind. That's really a problem. And what happens is that they just click out. It's just like you most of the time you say, you're in your mind, and suddenly, boom, you sleep. Because at one point your body say, okay, stop. So that's the worst case. But you can change this way. And meditation is definitely a great way to do that, to improve it. Good answer. I try a lot and I didn't get anything. Okay, can meditate on ambient music to catch the hypnagogia. Yeah, well, let's talk about how to train. I'm not talking about getting inside it. I'm just talking about training for hypnagogia, because this is something that if you want to be good at, I don't mean indirect technique, I mean direct technique. It's something that you should do, train for hypnagogia. And it's fun. It's really fun. How do you do that? Well, you can say, well, after way back to bed or when I fall asleep, okay, let's try. But you will fall asleep. That's the problem. And you have a very, very short time. So you will have a very short training. So that's really not the best place to try. If you want to really mess up after way back to bed, there is a way. You try to go until you go an insomnia, like means you really try not to sleep, and strongly, but try to be relaxed and not to sleep strongly. Then this will help to have some more hypnagogia. But I mean, you might wake up like, So the best way, there is the people who do meditation and some who do not meditation. Some who do not meditation, there is a technique which is called yoga nidra. And yoga nidra is it's an Indian technique. It's like sophrology. I mean, beginning what we were doing in sophrology, and it's based on the body scan. That means you are somebody. You can have record on internet, and there is lots of it. Yoga nidra, Nidra. You hear this, and the idea is that it starts from most often head to feet, and part by part. So the guy say, okay, put your focus on your hand, on your shoulder, your elbow and everything, puff, 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 slowly. And this really, slowly just drag you inside the sleep, but very slowly. And at one point, you will reach an hypnagogic state, and that's a good way to train. You might fall asleep, of course, when you do this kind of training, but it's a good way to train because you can do it during the time, like morning time, afternoon time, whatever, and you can do it again. And a good yoga nidra takes like about 30 minutes, something, it's enough. So that's for somebody who do not make meditation, it's a good way. It's a good way to train. And then you learn how to see those images and to recognize them. And by the way, it's a good way to get relaxed because it's a technique to really, really relax. So that's what I would recommend, sophrology or yoga nidra. Okay. For the one who make meditation, there is it depends. There is people who are just beginner in meditation. Well, beginner in meditation, what they usually do, they just relax. They just go in a way or whatever, but they relax. The good things would be to try what we learn in those meditation retreats. Maybe some of you have heard, which is called the SM Goenka Vipassana meditation retreat. They last 10 days, and well, it's kind of hard if you've never done it. We meditate 10 hours a day, but we learn a sort of body scan. You do it, like yourself. Then you start from head to feet and up. And when you do that, you might reach a point of what the Buddhists don't really like, and they say you should avoid it, you know, because it's not good, because it's dualness, drowsiness, that you start feeling a bit like this. But if you want to learn about hypnagogia, it's a perfect state. Of course, you know, if you really fall asleep, that's it's too much. It's wrong. But if you start to feel a little bit dizzy, a little bit like dual or something, then you will start to see. And in meditation, the very good thing is that you can stay in that state for, I don't know, I can stay in a hypnagogic state while I meditate, like well, I can do like 2-3 hours of meditation, you know, without moving. So I can say at least 1 hour in a hypnagogic state. Of course, that's a lot of training and it helps a lot. And sometimes I just do my real meditation. I don't really try to have some hypnagogia, but they come and I just watch them, because in very deep meditation, if you are really used to this, if you really are a meditator, like a really trained meditator, you will see that you know, you can hold them. I mean, you are really in a state, very powerful state, very subtle, and you can watch them, you know, like small movies, you know. It's just amazing. And of course, that's a perfect way of training. So whether you are a meditator and meditation is a way, you know, like when you reach dualness, which is everybody who has meditation reach a point where he's a little bit dual. If you say no, I say okay, then you try after midday, you know, like you eat, and you go meditation at 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. after eating, and you'll see if you don't get dualness. So that's a way of having those hypnagogia. Or if you don't do meditation at all, well, yoga nidra is probably the best way. Okay, I just check if there is any questions so far. I recognize image of dreaming in Force Awakening, turn into lucid dream. Image of dreaming in Force Awakening. Well, Force Awakening is Force Awakening. It's not hypnagogia. When you are in a Force Awakening, it's just like you're in a dream, you know. So you're not in hypnagogia. Hypnagogia is a liminal state. It's the bonder before you fall asleep and when you wake up. It's liminal state that surrender the sleeping state. It's not really inside the sleep. A Force Awakening is sleep, you know. Delphine, I definitely have to try yoga nidra. Sure, I told you many times. Yes, Vincenzo is too. Okay. Just try to feel body. Yes, but HH is part of the dream. Not exactly. As I said, it's liminal. It's not a dream yet. And that's why you get it in meditation. It's because meditation brings you at this liminal state. You don't sleep, but you are in a you reach this point where you feel really well. And sometimes they say, oh, be careful, because this is not meditation anymore, you know, like in those meditation school, they don't like you to play with this. But because you reach this liminal state, and the funny thing is you can stay in that liminal state, but you're not in a dream. You're not sleeping, because if you're in a dream, you sleep, but you're not sleeping in hypnagogia. That's the main difference. You are on the border, on the edge, really, you know, like there is the sleep here, and you're just about to, you know, just like, oh, this is liminal state. Okay, so let's go on then. We should enter this state to achieve OBE when doing direct. Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, I come back to this. Okay, so now, how can you become conscious? Well, there is a one-man way to become conscious, and it's exactly what Michael Raduga said, and it's you. Well, let me explain how I see it. Okay, this field. Imagine there is this field, 100-meter field. You have to cross it. It's a terrible 100-meter field. The problem is, anytime during this field, you might fall asleep, but the beginning is even worse. The more you get inside the field, the easiest it will be, because you will be down inside the hypnagogia. Problem is how to get further in the field. You can do it with micro sleep. That means that you will not really fall asleep, or try not to really fall asleep. You will do like a dolphin, you will just do it like this. And anytime you get under, that means that you maybe got like 10-20 meters further in the field, and you wake up further. And when you wake up further, it's much better, because the hypnagogia are much deeper, and then that's where you can sometimes get them. So the problem is, when you fall asleep after wake back to bed, the beginning is really tricky, and to avoid this beginning, it's the best would be to start sleeping voluntary, but just not too much, just a little. How do you do that? The bad news is that there isn't any technique to do it. It's more experience. But if you really program yourself to do it, it will happen. And it's a question of experience. In fact, it's not really, there is not much technique to learn this kind of things. It's more like you will find a way to do it, and you will find a way to just sleep and wake up, because you will, in your mind, you will stay very alert. You say, I must sleep, but wake up as soon as I can. And that's very important. And if you manage to like have those micro sleep, and get like half or 3/4 of the field, then it can be really fun, because sometimes you find yourself in floating consciousness, which is really the most amazing things. So at this point, what happened? Well, that's where the wild will happen. What can you do? Well, you manage to stay awake. Then you know the beginning of the field, which is very tricky. Okay, you cross it. You maybe you just lost consciousness a little bit, and a little bit again, and then you in it. And then you can see those images are more powerful. Everything is more powerful. You hear people. Sometimes you see the scenario and all that. You have to be fast, because you're on the verge of sleeping. So, but you're still there. Your consciousness is still there. If it's images, sounds, beginning of scenario, thing like that, but you see it, what you have to do is to try to focus on something to get inside it. I mean, it's not something I can really explain. You just focus. You have to focus. Something you see, you really focus. That's why you can't do it at the beginning, because at the beginning, everything is so poof, 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 poof. It happens too fast. You can't focus on something, because as soon as you focus, it's gone. But when you cross the field and you go deeper inside the field, you have time to focus. And if you focus, then you might get inside the thing. Many different way of doing it. You can focus on an image, on, like you see something, but it's quite here, it's old. Or you can focus on a sound. A sound can really helpful. Like you put all your mind in this sound, and you try to follow it with your mind. And then that's very important. And that's something I discovered not so long ago, because most of the time I was trying to get inside, and sometimes I didn't succeed. But then at this time, you can do exactly like indirect technique. That means that if you follow the sound and it doesn't work, and if you follow the image and it doesn't work, then just get up, because you're still in your bed. I mean, you still have the feeling of real life. You're not in the dream yet. Just get up, do it like voluntary, like if you really get up, and it will work exactly like the indirect technique. You will just wake up. You will just get inside the dream, but it might not be your room as it does, that is often do in the indirect technique. It will be in a dream room, an unknown dream room, because you're already in a kind of scenario, so it will be a little bit different, but it will work exactly like indirect technique. You will just find yourself in a dream scenario, and just like getting out of a bed, dream bed, in a room you don't know, just like, wow, where am I? It's really funny, actually. And that's really important. I say that because this kind of while you're not too deep inside the hypnagogia, and so the sounds, the images, they hold, and the lag is not so big, so you can do something, but sometimes it doesn't work. As soon as you realize it doesn't work, just don't push it. Get up is probably the easiest way, and it works exactly like the indirect technique. In fact, with the micro sleep, what happens is we kind of mimic indirect techniques, and there is this opportunity of getting up exactly like indirect technique if you reach this point. So that's one thing's important. The other things is, if you can go even deeper, that's probably need more experience. You want, is very little chance that you do it at the beginning, but if you get more experience, then you will find yourself even in a deeper situation. In this deeper situation, you will be in floating consciousness. That means that you will like float, like, where am I? Inside a dream, but you're not in the dream yet. You're not really in the dream. You're still in hypnagogia. You didn't enter the dream. You don't have any dream body. You just watch things. Sometimes there is a road and you follow the road, and sometimes you can see people talking. There's something happening there. You can't really jump. It doesn't really work. You really have to get inside, but at this point you will make it. I mean, most of the time it works. That means that you focus on something. You focus on whatever you see. You can see someone, you try to grab it, or you see an object and you try to grab it. And what happens is, like an object, if you try to grab it with your hand, like I try to grab it, as soon as you grab it, your hand and your arm will appear in the dream, and all the body will appear, just and then you have your dream body. It's for me, as a funny way to enter a dream, is really the best. It's really the best. There is a technique. I mean, it's not really technique. It's something I discovered at the beginning. I was doing this. I call it the Smith agent technique, and of course it's in this kind of while. Agent Smith is like in Matrix. This guy in Matrix, when he just like, you took the place of people, he's just like boom, smashing people. That's what you can do. Like you see a dream character inside the scenario, and you are just floating over it, and you just say, oh, let's take his place, and you just focus on it, and what happens is just like you become him or her. You just become the dream character. So I found myself in very strange situation, like behind a desk, and I was watching, like, in a frontal consciousness, somebody in, like in a bank, he was like helping people and, giving money or whatever. And I just jump on him, and I found myself like the guy giving the money and all that. And there was another funny one also. There was two people with a guitar. They were playing like this, and I just saw them like a floating consciousness. And I say, well, take the place, and I took the place of one of those guys, and I found myself exactly with the guy in front of me playing guitar, and I had the guitar of the other guy. It was just amazing, but sometimes it doesn't work. Okay, so that was the two kinds. So one is when you are not too deep inside the hypnagogic field, and the other kind is when you are even deeper. There is another kind, and it happens and you have to know it because knowledge is important, is I call it a late wild. And this happen when you miss it, like you know, you kind of try to grab and boom, you slip. But because you went that far in the field, your consciousness is still here, but a little bit. And what happened is you find yourself at the beginning of a dream, and you kind of, oh, what's going on? What's going on? Something's strange, something's strange. And then you wake up. So it looks like a deal, dream-induced lucid dream, but it's not really a deal because you are entering the dream and you don't need to see your hand or whatever. You just, oh, I'm dreaming, of course. This is really a late wild. That means that you became conscious because of your, you know, like because you crossed the hypnagogic field, but you didn't make the last meters. But it was late enough to just like get the consciousness back inside the dream. So I call this a late wild. So that's about. Of course, many things can happen. You know, many things, many situations, many strange things. But it's important to understand that if you want to become conscious when you fall asleep, you have to get deeper in the hypnagogic field. You have to get deeper inside the hypnagogia, because just seeing picture and just few things at the beginning, it's not enough. You know, you can't do anything with this. It's not like when you wake up. When you wake up, it's very short, you know, very, very short, but it's very, very open. That means that when you wake up, if you see something or, you know, just a little things, just get up. Just don't think. Just get up. It will work. Most of the time we miss it as an indirect technique because we think too much. No, just get up. Just don't think. Don't fucking think. Just get up. Even myself, you know, I just sometimes say no, you know, it's great. It works. And sometimes I do it. I say, oh, I couldn't believe I done it, but it's just don't think. Get up. But this will never work when you fall asleep. When you fall asleep, you must go deeper in the hypnagogic field. So it's very funny, very interesting, but it's another job. It's something very different. Okay, so I'm just now taking some questions and see if I can add something. Yeah, just yeah, about the technique. I mean, you know, there is many techniques on the internet or wherever, you know, like they kind of most of them work. The idea is to get an anchor. An anchor is like you focusing on something while you fall asleep. It can be like you know, like the finger, like there is one technique like this. The idea is you focus on something, and this something is like, it's like in meditation. You have an object of meditation, and then you have an object when you fall asleep. Actually, what I do, I focus like in meditation on my breath. The idea is you keep this anchor to going further. Well, yeah, it might work, but personally, I don't really rely on this because, as I said, if you start from scratch, I mean, nothing, and you want to cross this field, most of the time, the beginning is so tricky that you will fall asleep. It's the problem is it's like the beginning. Imagine there is a quicksand or bombs, and you know, you just walk in it, and like after a few minutes, you're dead. And there is less and less bomb, you know, when you get inside the field a little bit further. So the idea is to, you know, avoid and get inside it, but you know, not too much. That's what's work. Yeah. If you do it, something important, don't do it too long. I mean, well, I would say like 30 minutes for me. I mean, my experience, 30 minutes is fine. You can just go for it, you know, just try to get micro sleep and all that. If it doesn't work, if you don't get micro sleep and all that, and you're still awake, that means that's something wrong. That means that you're going, going to reach insomnia or something, forget it. Just stop it. Same, if you start to, I mean, try to have some micro sleep, but what happens is you don't do that, but you do like poof, like a balloon, you know, like this is a dolphin. You want to be a dolphin, you know, but you don't want to be a whale, you know. The whale just go deep down. If you get deep down the sleep, and then you find yourself that you wake up and like 30-40 minutes has gone, I think it's dead, and you can't do much. The best is to forget it. That means you still, I mean, I don't know why, but as soon as your normal sleep start to come back, you can't really do it again. You have to forget it, or you have to do another way back to bed, or go to insomnia to reset the thing. But it's not good. So try it. Try to get those micro sleep, and if after like 30 minutes didn't make it, best thing is what I do is I try, and it doesn't work, stop. Try to stop. Sometimes I just oh, let's go a little bit further, but it's always a bad idea. But stop and focus on indirect technique. Just okay, I sleep, and as soon as I wake up, I get up. You know, you just like forget the direct one, do the indirect. Of course, I mean this for people who already have some experience. You know, if you're a beginner, I mean, you will mess up. If you're a beginner, okay, try direct technique sometime, but better is to focus on indirect technique. That's much more easier. That's definitely. I will not talk much about indirect technique because one of the last webinar, and Michael, of course, I mean, they talk about it a lot, and everything has been said. So what I can say is no way to compare. Direct technique are tricky, very funny, very interesting, I love it. You know, just like hypnagogia is something so fun, so interesting, but tricky, very tricky. Indirect technique, it's job. You know, you just you don't think, you do the technique, and one day it will work. Direct technique, especially if you're a beginner, you can try for sometimes years and it won't work. So just be careful with it. You know, just yeah. But after a while, if you start to get used with indirect, or you have deals, it's nice to try. Also because I saw some people, you know, they have lucid dream and they have deals and they don't worry much about while and all that. But after months and sometimes years of training, they start to, you know, not be so good at deal, because their mind gets used to make some reality tests and all that, and you really have to consider going for the while, definitely. So the best is to indirect technique, or train for hypnagogia. That's very important. I would say that experience brings you knowledge, and knowledge gives you instinct. I'm talking about direct technique. When you fall asleep, instinct is very important. That's why technique are not so important. You have to develop instinct. Then, you know, it's just like experience, knowledge, instinct. That's how it works, to my view. Okay, I see what you guys are writing. Next step after hypnagogia. Well, sleep. If possible, lucid dream. Okay, so I did well naturally few times. I just grab the image and I am attracting it. Usually I'm attaching a tunnel. Well, if you find a personal way and it works, fine. I mean, you know, just trust your own experience, trust what works. I just want to explain give a bigger picture of the thing, of this, any kind of wild and all that. If you develop something that works for you, fine, go on. Just try to understand, try to get some knowledge from this experience and to do something maybe a little bit different. That's what's interesting. Manon, I did wild naturally a few times. I just grabbed the. Ah, ben c'est ouais, okay. It was you, Manon. Sorry. Mustafa, what is the success rate percentage to achieve lucid dream and performing the right technique for experienced person like you? Well, that's a very tricky question. I don't know. I mean, let's say that now most of my well, let's say that I have very few deals, very few. When I was, oh yeah, we did. So funny. So I have many wide, and let's say that maybe 60-70% of my wild are kind of direct technique. It's difficult because, as I said, it can be tricky. Sometimes you are in a direct technique, but I just get up, and I kind of mimic doing direct technique. So you can't really answer exactly. But when you get used to direct technique, you build knowledge, experience, and instinct, and then it works. It works. Sometimes I don't know how it works. It happened. I just recognize the thing and I just jump on it. This is instinct. In fact, I don't. When I wake up, I apply technique. Like a good student. I'm ready, and I wake up, and as soon as I can, I do my cycling. Ta 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 ta, and if I can, I just get out. But when I sleep, nothing to do. It just is instinct. I know any kind of hypnagogia, anything happen. I have so many different situations, and I just when I just try to grab it. I don't even try to really do it when I fall asleep. Actually, I just kind of do it as a feeling. That's it. Yes, it happened to me. Tried to grab something and found my dream body. Good, Delphine. Do you want to find the right point? Okay. When I get aware that dream, I wake up. Body, how to remain in the dream? We don't wake up. Well, guy, I have the same problem as you. It's there is some people they are better to stay inside the dream, and some they are not so good. Just like Delphine is amazingly good to remain inside the dream. Well, I have the same problem. Sometimes it lasts, but most of the time I wake up too quickly. It's just like, so I can't really help you, but it is just try to do anything that's written in Michael books, and anything you find, just maybe you find a way to make it longer, but that's the problem, sure. Okay, what I would like to talk now is what do I want to talk now? Yeah, a very important point. There is something I discovered about 2 years ago or something. I was trying to improve my practice and all that, so I try any kind of chemical I found, like galantamine, eupazine, alpha GPC, and on and on and on. There is a very famous book which explain all that, and I've read this book, and I try anything. I done it like I do the way back to bed. I wanted anything. If it kill me, no problem. I try. And I try galantamine, eupazine, and then all of this. And I had some lucid dream. Yeah, I mean, it happens. But I mean, sometimes I get some headache, and sometimes it was just like, and just mess up the night. And I realized that well, it doesn't really work. I mean, nothing is perfect, and all these chemicals are, well, let's say a bit of a joke, But as I've done that like crazy for maybe 2-3 months, I've noticed something that was coming back always, is that when after we're back to bed, what was important, really important, is to not falling asleep completely and come back at the surface of waking state and sleep again and back. And anytime I was able to do this, just like I was sleeping like 20 minutes something, 30 minutes waking up, 20 minutes waking up, sometimes 10 minutes waking up, 10 minutes waking up. And when this happened, of course, my chance of having a listening of catching, because I was crossing this liminal state anytime, increased. So the idea is it was that if I can wake up many time easily and fall back to sleep after a wake back to bed, then of course my chances are much bigger. It's just like I have a gun, there is only one shot or two shots, boom, boom, and then another gun, and there is 10 shots. Well, makes a big difference. Um, so I decided to find a way to work on those awakening, like waking up many times. How to do this? Um, it's yeah. Lately, I've talked. Maybe it was with Delphine. We talked. We call this the warning technique. So the idea is to you have a way back to bed. You go back to bed, but you want to wake up, but your body wants to sleep. How can I do this? So I find a way that maybe I should take something like a drug, but a very nice one, which helped me to fall asleep, but not too much. So, and when I mean a drug, something very light, like, caffeine or something. But caffeine is not good because caffeine just goes like really high and down. And that's not what you want. You want something that goes like this, slowly up, slowly, and not too much, just something like this, like, and then you'll have maybe 2 hours or 3 hours that something will help you not to be too sleepy, but not too awake either. That's the very important things. And I find that probably many things can do that, but I found that I could use matcha tea. Matcha tea is a tea um, made originally by the Japanese. It's a very high quality tea, very good one. And the good thing with this tea is like it's like a green powder, and you can put it inside pills because like tea ceremony and all that after went back to bed, it's not really good. So what I made is some small pills, like pills that you can buy, very basic pills. And inside those pills, I just put some tea, some matcha teas. And if you want to see what I put inside, maybe I have a picture to show you. That is what I buy on internet. You see this, okay, that is it. So this is really good for health. So it's no problem of taking this after wake back to bed, because even it's good for your body, because it's really something. This one is high quality one. That little thing's 30 grams costs 35 euro or something. But of course you don't use much, so that's fine. But the thing is, you have to find what's the good quantity for you. But when you use this, you will fall asleep, but you have a tendency to wake up much sooner than you would do. And that's how you do it. That's how I do it. I train myself to wake up many times. Actually, after a while, you don't need it so much. Sometimes you need it, sometimes not, because your body is start to know what you're doing, and he wakes you up, wakes you up, wakes you up. And of course, if you do those waking up often, like 5, 6, 7, sometimes after way back to bed I had 10. It was crazy. Anytime you have a chance of doing not really direct technique, but indirect technique. As I said, direct technique should be tried when you fall asleep after going back to bed. But after that, it's indirect. You just sleep. But the good thing is wake up, sleep. But really, wake up, sleep. So that's what I use. I use this kind of things for not being too sleepy and not damaging my body, because actually this is a really high quality tea. So that's a thing I would recommend for the one who want to try this. Of course, you will mess it up your sleep after wake back to bed, but if you've been sleeping enough before, that's fine, and you will sleep anyway. The problem for people at the beginning, if you want to try this, is to go back to sleep. That's the problem, because if you are kind of someone who thinks too much and all that, then you will wake up and can't sleep again. That's a problem. Also, two reasons. Maybe you've put too much tea, so you have to lower the quantity, or it's just because you just think too much. And then you have to train for techniques like sophrology, meditation, like body scan techniques, which help you to relax and relax and relax. And in the same way, you'll get used to it. At the beginning, it's complicated. It's kind of hard to really be used to. But after a while, you really get used to it, and you really like wake up, fall asleep, wake up, fall asleep. It's really like warning techniques. Pop, 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 pop. And it really works. And that doesn't mean that it will work every night. You know, I don't become lucid every night. But let's say that my chance are bigger than average person who maybe will have one or two awakening after wake back to bed. That's obvious. Okay, I see there is other question. Okay, so when doing direct technique, you usually go into dream, then you can switch to OB. Well, I don't know. You know, I won't talk about this because I'm not sure about anything. You know, I'm a bit like Michael Raduga. You know, I don't know if it's OB or not OB. Just what's if I get inside a dream, it really looks like a dream. Like if I do a direct technique, most of the time is really getting inside a dream. Really, it's just like you have a screen in front of you, and the game is playing. I mean, the movie is playing, and you just boom get inside it. So really a dream. But when you go like indirect technique and you get inside your room, that really looks like an OBE. Sure. So indirect techniques are more like a kind of OBE flavor. Is it really OBE? Is it not OBE? So far, I can't answer. Can marijuana help with lucid dreaming? I saw things on internet, and I would say, from what I saw, absolutely not. It's really bad because it seems to suppress the how do you call it, the REM part. So it's not really a good idea. Well, if you feel like doing it, do it. I mean, just fine. You know, I've done some crazy things, and after that, I realized it was stupid. But sometimes it's important to do some stupid things to understand what's important to do, what works. So if you feel like, yeah, I want to try it. Fine, fine, no problem. You know, just it might work. I mean, we never know. We're all different. But personally, I won't do it. But it's my view. Is that from experience, Darwin? I don't know what you mean. I smoke once. Okay, smoke a time. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about meditation, because anything I wanted to tell you, I told you. If you have any question about things, any kind of world, then you know I just finished my talking, and you can ask, no problem. I try to answer as much as I can. But sorry guys if I don't use some magic techniques, but magic techniques are really for indirect techniques. I mean, it's kind of magic really, because when you wake up, there's really a very short time, but it's very efficient. So the problem is to catch it. That's why when you wake up, you should always train for waking up, and the surfacer technique, as using the machete, and you know, try to wake up many times after going back to bed. That's really this plus this, it's really a winner, I can tell you. Direct technique is more like you really want the challenge and you really want to see hypnagogia. I much prefer direct technique because it's crazy. You know, anything can happen. It's just amazing. So it's even I'm more interested about, you know, this approach than the lucid dream actually, because it's really a crazy state, and so many things happen during meditation that really enjoy it. But it's tricky, hard, and it takes lots of experience. Yeah, I'd say that, you know, like I train every day, but if you can't do it and you say, well, I have maybe 1 week back to bed every week, I would say just it's not enough really. Just maybe you should forget direct technique. You need a little bit more training, like I would say 2-3 times a week. It would be a minimum, and you have to really be regular and try to train for hypnagogia to recognize what's going on. That's it's something, it's really experience you have to build with direct technique. It asks much more than indirect techniques, definitely. Yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about meditation. Today I'm trying to do some new things with meditation, because I do in very deep meditation. I don't know if someone of you have ever heard about jhana state. Jhana state are very deep meditation. I mean, it's absorption, we call it, concentration of absorption. That means that you're really in a very bizarre state of mind, which is a very focused state of mind, and your body is really um, it's something very different than the normal state. And you can stay and remain very long in that state because you don't feel your body anymore. You're very relaxed. You really one pointed minded. You know, just it's a very special taste where. Of course, there is all these very deep meditation works, like all these Buddhist things that you can do, but that's not the point I want to talk about. Um, I discovered that, you know, when you are in that state, you can, and if you go back to sleep, and you can find a way to remain in that state, then there is some very strange things happen. Then you can do wild quite easily sometimes, but sometimes you can just fall into the sleep and you still here. I mean, you don't dream, but you're not awake. You just like, where am I? You know, it's just funny things. That's the things I work now. You know, I really would try to find another way to have some lucid dream. I mean, as a waking state, and this is an important thing. It's kind of research right now, so I won't talk much about it. I just want to say that I found recently, because I was talking with somebody who's really a big meditator, and I was saying that I'm using hypnagogia to my meditation and all that, which is not something they really like it, you know. And he talked to me about one part in the yogas, in the Buddhism suttas, which are the what Buddha write. And at one point, Buddha write that when you get in that those jhana states, which are very important state to get in deeper meditation, it's really important. Then you can make, it's really, he say that, I mean, he said, you can make a mind-made body. And this mind-made body will have all the characteristic of a normal body, you know, but it will be mind-made. So there is a lot of talking about what's a mind-made body, but obviously it's a dream body. And after that, he even says that with this mind-made body, you can cross walls, fly, and all that. I was amazed, you know, like Buddha was having some lucid dream and all that. But what's interesting is he seems to have it right from the jhana state in meditation. And that's what I would like to do, is to get right from meditation into the dream state. It could be possible. Okay, that's for the fun. Now, guys, just you can answer a question, whatever question you want. I've said anything I needed to say so far, and I'll be watching your question. Is it still about marijuana? Okay, yes, you can, but depend people. Delphine, I can drink 3 martini, yes. Delphine's techniques. Might have to do my own. Well, sure, you have to. Anything I said, it's something that you might cross it, but building your own experience is the most important. Okay, when do you drink the matcha tea? Actually, yeah, good question. I don't drink it. As I said, I make pills. Uh, you know, like there is some things you can buy internet to make your own pills yourself. Don't do it by hand. It's too complicated. And I do it just when I wake up. I do way back to bed. Like my way back to bed is between 3 and 4 in the morning most of the time. So I wake up, I get my pill, have a drink, and I go for my meditation. You have to know that this pill will take about 30 to 40 minutes to be active. So let's say that in any kind of things you will do, if you want to practice those direct technique, don't go back to bed too quick. So I would say that 30 minutes is to my view, is the minimum. And if you use these things like the matcha tea, 30 minutes is fine too. That this is what it would take to get inside your blood and start to be active. So that's what I do. I take it when I wake up, and I do my meditation. So my meditation is a bit longer, but 1 hour, sometimes 1.5 hours, and then I go back to bed. You might have some difficulty at the beginning to find the correct quantity. So you might have one pill and say nothing happened. So that means it's not enough, you know. And you get 2 pills and say, oh, I'm too awake, I can't sleep. Maybe you put a little bit too much. So it can be tricky, but when it works, when you find it, it's fine. But it's fine for a while. Sometimes it works. It works like 1 month or 2 months, but your physiology change, or the weather, or season, everything, and you have to change it too, because the quantity you use, it can be too strong or too weak. It was good, but it's not good anymore. That's things happen. Okay, what else? Yeah, I also put things into my matcha tea. I don't want to talk too much about it, but the matcha tea is made with different things, and there is tea is made of different chemical things. It's too complicated to explain in English, but there is one which called L-theanine. You will, if you buy one matcha tea, you will see on it there is every tea there is this L-theanine, and there is also another one called EGCG. L-theanine is the part of the tea which makes you relax. So what I do a little bit more. I buy some L-theanine, and I put some more inside my matcha tea. And if I want to have the matcha tea stronger without spending too much money and like taking too much, I put some EGCG, which is the really it works like the caffeine, but it's for the tea. So that's what makes the tea strong. Be careful with this, because it really could work like a coffee, just like sometimes I just think I put a little and I couldn't sleep. So at the beginning, I would say that just don't use matcha tea. Don't worry much. Something that you can put in it is a little bit of melatonin, but a very little, like 0.3 milligram gram. I don't know. I don't remember if it's gram or milligram. Be careful. Yeah, the idea is to it helps you to fall back to sleep easier. I don't put it anymore because I don't need it. But at the beginning, I was using a little bit of melatonin in it. Okay, is this new meditation a direct technique for you? It's not a direct technique. It's not a technique at all. Actually, it's a way. It's you're already in a very strange state, and this strange state, when you mix it with the falling back to sleep, makes some weird things. So it's too soon. So maybe we talk about it in 1 year or two. I plan to go in a Birman monastery to deeper the things. So maybe in 1 or 2 years I'll have some webinar about it, but it's too soon to talk about. Meditation is great as a tool. So you have to forget about this jhana thing, which is really higher level of meditation, but it will help you to be relaxed. Meditation helps you to really, when you go back to sleep, especially if you do some many waking up, to go back to sleep, because you know how to get quiet again, and that's really helpful. And of course it will, if you practice meditation, and when you feel this dullness and drowsiness, then you can focus on hypnagogia, and we will see some, you will have some, you will recognize them, and you can study the lag, oh, I see this, but it took some time before I realized it. So it's a great tool for this. That's what you should focus on it, about meditation. When do you know to separate? I don't get it. 7 years ago. No, I don't manage to do it even after our meditation. I don't understand, because I have far more conscious attention. I will continue practicing. Well, your life was a total mess. There is some explanation also. When you are, if your night was a mess, then it helps. That's not something I would recommend. But sometimes when I want to play, I said, okay, I go back to bed and I try direct techniques, and it doesn't work. I mean, and I fall asleep like 30 minutes something. I know it's dead. So I said, I'm not going to give up. And I know I have to be very awake. So what I do, I manage to stay awake in the bed, or I do another way back to bed, but also in the bed, like for an hour or so. I just push it. I try to reach insomnia, but as I do lots of meditation, I also know how to stop the insomnia. That's the risky business. But when you are messy, when your night is messy like this, it helps to go inside hypnagogia, deeper in hypnagogia. And that's why it could be why 7 years ago it was more easy for you. So much as tea, pills after waking up, do meditation, then go back to bed for indirect attempt. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's matcha tea. I mean, this idea of many waking up is more about indirect technique than direct techniques. It can be helpful to direct technique too, because if the matcha if the pill is really a good quantity, then you will fall asleep, but not so fast, and it will also help for direct technique. But of course it's complicated to find the right quantity. It can be tricky, and of course if you don't do it like me, like very often, and sometimes you just do it, you might don't have, you might not get the feeling of oh, is it the good quantity, the bad quantity. That's the only problem that you will have. But yeah, sure, it will the idea is to do lots of awakening, so to work for indirect technique, obviously. Of course, when you, I think you understand, but I just want to be clear. When you finish, you didn't succeed or whatever, and then you fall asleep and wake up, and that's really like boom, boom, boom. Don't try any direct technique. I mean, it's dead. It's only indirect technique. You just work on awakening, not on sleeping time, because it won't work. It's you do it only after wake back to bed. So you mix direct with indirect. So you wake up, use indirect. If not working, you switch to direct. No. I mean, after way back to bed is exactly what I want to be clear, and people get confused. After way back to bed, you practice the direct techniques. But if it doesn't work, like after 30 minutes, nothing happened, and you don't really feel asleep, just forget it. It's gone. Or yeah, you can try to go further. You can just say, okay, no problem. I don't mind if I don't sleep. Okay, go further. Go 1 hour or something. But do it just some time, because it's not really good for your sleeping time. But what I do is I try. It doesn't work, even if I work, I mean, it's about 30 minutes maximum, and I can do those micro sleep. And if I see that I'm starting to sleep too much or I didn't succeed, I forget it. Finish the direct technique. I focus only on indirect technique, you know. So no, I will wake up 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, I don't know. And I will focus only on indirect technique. That means I will focus only when I wake up. How could you meditate for 1 hour in the middle of the night, then go back to bed for 5 attempts? Well, actually, now it's more 1.5 hours than 1 hour. How can I do it? Because I meditate a lot. You know, I meditate like between 3 and 5 hours a day. So, and I do some every 3-4 months. I go in a retreat, which lasts 10 days or so, and we do 10 hours a day. So, you know, my meditation practice is like if it was a sport, it's like an athlete, you know, just like it's a lot. So that's the reason, you know. It's just like I feel so easy in it, you know. It's just like it's easy, really. It's easy. What is the best time of meditation to improve your success rate? Focusing on object or eliminating ID? Clear your mind. Okay, what is the best time of meditation? Is something that must be clear. Meditation is not a technique. It's not something that will give you some lucid dream. Not really. So meditation is meditation. It can be used as a tool, but just to get relaxed when you wake up and all that, or to train for hypnagogia. That's all. If you feel like when you do wake back to bed, if you feel like you want to do some meditation, fine. It's a great time for meditation, 3, 4 in the morning. You know, on retreat, we wake up at 4 in the morning. So you see, it's a great time. But if you don't feel it, do something else. It's up to you. But it's don't mix both. Meditation is meditation, and lucid dream is lucid dream. Use meditation as tools to do things, but don't think that because of meditation I'm going to have a lucid dream. No, meditation will help you to be quiet during the night. Because imagine when you have a wake back to bed, and then you will have to sleep again and wake up and sleep again and wake up, and your mind has to be quiet. Because if you have trouble thinking about this or that, you know, you will be caught by your mind. So that's why meditation is helpful, because it helps you to just, you know, live it, and that's how to use it. What is the best type of meditation to improve your success rate focusing on object? Oh, yeah, it's the same. Best type of meditation, I didn't read this way. Doesn't matter. I mean, as long as it helps you to quiet your mind, it's fine. We are not talking about meditation. Actually, we are talking about how to use it for quieten your mind. So anything which I will recommend, body scanning meditation. Yeah, definitely, because body scan meditation, that's the one we learn in those SN Goenka retreat, Vipassana retreat. There is some in France. You can see on internet Vipassana. You will find some. There is some everywhere in the world. They are based on body scan, and body scan is a great technique to really relax and to reach this liminal state. So definitely, I would say that body scan is probably the best, and it's also what is used in Yoga Nidra, body scan. So yeah, body scan. Any technique to sleep after wake back to bed, as I'm not able to sleep again, even I'm not able to sleep again. Well, yeah, that's what happened often. You know, there is some. What can I say? I mean, meditation will help you definitely, but would it work? I mean, I don't know. People seems to have some issue about these things of going back to bed and sleeping time. So of course, if you have to wake up many times, then it will be complicated. But yeah, try to do some body scan meditation and see if it has some capacity. I mean, if it can work. I don't know. Focus on deep breathing. No, body scan is not. Deep breathing is has nothing to do. It's body scan is a technique where you, like, you start from your head and you try to feel any part of your body, any part, and slowly you get down, 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 and you try to feel it. If you're not used to this technique, do some yoga nidra, because this is what will happen in yoga nidra, and somebody will teach you. I mean, there is somebody talking, and he says that do there, go there, go there. At the beginning, it's better this way. If you do it yourself, you need some training, lots of training to be used to. And so that's the technique. Deep breathing is something else. How do you take melatonin? With water? We don't water. Anything I take is always with water, so I don't really understand. What about sound? What do you mean? What about sound? You mean hypnagogic? What about sound? HH? Well, it's for me. Yeah, interesting question. Sounds or hypnagogia, definitely they work. Like if you wake up, because it's very easy. It's very short, as I said. But sometimes when you wake up, if you hear something, just don't even try a technique or get up. Just get up straight on, because you are in a hypnagogic state and it's very efficient at the waking. So if you hear a sound when you wake up, try to get up your bed. That means you're in it. You're in the phase, as Michael would say. When you fall asleep, as I said, it's more complicated. But definitely, when you hear a sound, you are in a hypnagogic state. If you manage to micro sleep, and you reach a point where the sound is holding, it's not like ping, I hear a sound. No, it's just like ding or bling bling, or something, but it's holding, it's lasting. Follow the sound with your mind. Follow it with your mind. Just try to grab it. Say, oh, I like imagine you are in a dark room, don't see anything, but you just kind of run until you reach this sound. That's what you have to do, and this can be enough to get you inside the dream. And if you see that I'm not getting inside the dream, try to get up your bed. That's what I do quite often, actually. Yeah, so sound works, really works. Or meditate on imaging myself open and close the door. Not on breathing, something, this trigger, listen. Well, I don't know. For me, meditation is nothing to. I mean, I'm not talking about jhana, but it's not something that trigger a lucid dream at all. It's just a tool. Tools like you want to climb a mountain. You have tools. You have like something to grab the mountains, but it's just tools. It's not you. How to fall asleep if you trigger insomnia? Well, if you reach insomnia, that means you're in very kind of deep shit. Yeah. So, but insomnia is really good to a lucid dream, really, because when you reach insomnia, you reach a point where you're very tired and you can't fall asleep. And this is excellent for liminal state. You just need to be a little bit more relaxed, and it will happen. So meditation, try body scan. That's really a good one. Or something very simple. Try it. It's exactly like the indirect technique of Michael Radugad, but you do a cycling, like they call it SSCLD, sense induced lucid dream. I don't remember. What you do is for 3-4 breathing, focus on the screen behind your eyes closed. It's dark. Just focus on it for 3-4 breathing. Then switch to the sound. Focus for 3-4 breathing to the sound, but just to the sound. And then focus on the body, 3-4 breathing. And do it again 3 times, 4 times. And this really can drop you inside sleep if you are in close to hypnagogia. And it can trigger really strong hypnagogia too. Yeah. So definitely, if you by mistake or something went wrong and you go to hypnagogia, don't panic. I mean, it could be a good opportunity. Can you use binaural beat to learn technique? Well, no, I don't believe in binaural, and I have reason to, because I went to a workshop in England, actually, quite expensive one, like the given by the Monroe Institute. I've done many workshops because I wanted to try anything. But so for 1 week we had some binaural sound, like whoa, 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 and things to see, things to watch, and all that. How can I say? To my view, useless, really. I mean, and the people who had some lucid dream with it out of this workshop was just like nothing. So yeah, there was some people who had some lucid dream, but these people already had some lucid dream. So yeah, no, I don't really believe anymore about the binaural. But if you feel like trying, just do it. I mean, do it. Yeah, SSCLD technique, exactly. That's the one when I was talking about screen, hair, body. It's exactly like the cyclic technique of Michael Raduga, exactly the same, but they are longer. That's what I say. You have to try it for maybe 3, 4 complete breath, and I mean relaxed breath, not but really relaxed breath, and that will really help you to fall asleep. Do you think that those experiences are just lucid dreams, so you think there's something happening? Actually, that's a question we asked to Michael. I don't know, really. It's I don't know, because well, I have some believing, but I'm not here to talk about my believing. I want to talk only about my experience, and my experience says that you can't be sure of anything. I don't say no, because there's some strange things, but I can't say yes either. That's obvious. Delphine, many times I need 45 to 1 hour to sleep. Meditation, Delphine, meditation, quiet your mind. Can you please give step-by-step detail moving from breath awareness to hypnagogia? After body scan, body relaxing, then what's the step to move to hypnagogia? Well, you get it wrong. There's not really a step to get into hypnagogia. You can train for hypnagogia while you are doing yoga nidra or meditation, but when you fall asleep, you can't really decide, or if you can do the body scan. That's a good thing when you lie on the bed and you do the body scan slowly, and then you reach the hypnagogia. But the problem is, as I said, the field is long, and the beginning of the field is very tricky, and so if you just try to go slowly until cross the whole field until you fall asleep, you have lots of chance to fall asleep. So what I would recommend is micro sleep. Try to fall asleep and wake up. Try to find a way to just like let you let you drag inside the sleep, but try to just wake up. Just have some I don't know, just try it. I can't explain. There is not really any technique that make it happen, and that's what will trigger hypnagogia, definitely, because the deeper you go inside this field, the deeper you kind of get close to the sleep. We don't really falling asleep, then the stronger will hold the hypnagogia. Because the problem with hypnagogia is it's not enough to just, when you fall asleep, not when you wake up, but when you fall asleep, it's not enough just to hear a sound or see an image. It has to hold. It has to be kind of solid. You really see the image. It's there. It stay, or the sound go on for a few seconds, and that's what you can do. What you can really get inside it, or try to get up. And so when you fall asleep, it's much longer, but it's not so easy. Okay, so I think it's quite done. Yeah, it has been 1 hour and 40 minutes, so we'll stop here. So maybe another day we will do another one. So guys, it was great to talk to you and to answer to your questions. Quite a lot of people, and that's it. So so I hope to see you on the Elijah project, and we can talk about it and see you some days. Okay, guys. Bye bye.